Views and opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold.
Welcome everyone to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. Excuse me. I am your host, Dave, from LA, coming to you live from FEMA Region number 6, and today is January the 16th, 2017. We have a live show for you today. It's a Tuesday, and if you'd like to get in on a conversation at any given time, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025, then hit **, we'll see you in queue. Definitely will look forward to talking with you all, because a dialogue is much more important than a monologue. And so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and, well, before we start today's show, it's a couple of things that we always do. We take care of the administrative duties. Everyone, please continue to support Black Talk Radio Network. And you could easily do that by going to www.blacktalkradionetwork.com. That is the website for this network, and there you'll see the donation prompt that will be readily available to you on the home page. Just hit that, and that will lead you into how you can give some of your financial energy to ensure that this radio network continues to grow and bring you the information, the ideas, and the programming that you have already deemed as necessary and pertinent. So give some of your financial energy, because without your financial support, Black Talk Radio Network will go silent. And that will be an outlet that is no longer had. And you know, many have complained about the lack of opportunities that we have. And this will be one of those opportunities that will have gone by the wayside, because those that have been using it didn't appreciate it enough to support it. So give whatever it is that you can. Your contributions, your financial contributions are very, very appreciated, regardless of what size they are. Black Talk Radio Network is just going to need, it doesn't, you know, it's not much that has to be done in order to support Black Talk Radio Network. For all of the viewers listeners that it already has, if all of the listeners that it has now daily that continue to listen, if they would just give just $1 each, even monthly, that would greatly increase in where Black Talk Radio Network will be sustainable. Or if they would join BTR Community, and BTR Community is a social media outlet that Black Talk Radio Network has created so that you can engage in all of your social media activities without being adversely affected, or as adversely affected as you are in the overall social media space. And, you know, FedBook is a crowdsourcing platform that actually takes your overall post, monetizes it, and doesn't give you anything. And we think that Facebook is free. No, Facebook is actually taxing you and taking from you. And we think that, oh, well, that's fine. It gratifies my immediate urge and immediate desire for this or for that, and it is actually not working for you, is actually using your energy to his benefit. And that's how a lot of systematic programs have been so generationally wealthy. I would ask you, is Facebook generationally wealthy? Absolutely, because it has crowdfunded its overall members without them even knowing it, and they think one thing when in actually we've basically been had by the system. So come on over to BTR community. It's only $24 a year, and that you're a member. So within that membership, there is no crowdfunding that is used against you. So come on over to BTR community and support the network. Also, if you would like to acquire real money, you could do that by going to www.prosperitymint.com, www.prosperitymint.com, and check out what's there, and you can exchange your overall, some of your currency or the wage of a slave. You can send it into and saving into gold, to gold as kings are paid and queens are paid in gold, or you could transfer it into savings of silver. That ladies and gentlemen, that a lady and a gentleman is the wage of a lady and gentleman is silver. And instead of just being paid a slave's wage and keeping that slave wage and saving in a debt instrument, which keep you economically generationally impoverished. So in order for a situation to change, you're going to have to do some things differently, or just thinking about it and not putting actions to it, or putting actions to it that have no real traction means that you'll stay in the same place. You'll be stuck spinning your wheels and just digging a deeper and deeper hole. So we don't want you to do that. Actually start to change that overall direction by actually acquiring real money. So definitely you want to do that. So you could do that at Prosperity Mint. Also, if you would like to be a part of the crowdsourcing platform known as Change of Coins, which is a great opportunity. I actually did YouTube videos for it all day. We'll be uploading those to you. And so, for those of you that are members, there's in YouTube, just look up David W. Presentation, Coins of Change presentation. I'm going to add some new ones to that today after Thando Radio Show. It's a lot of work doing YouTube videos and editing and everything else. So most of the work has been done. I will finish and then put those videos up, some really good ones, in my opinion, and use those for your overall. For those of you that are members, use it to your benefit. And those of you that are thinking about becoming a member, start at the beginning there. Subscribe to that YouTube channel, and we will be bringing you more and more YouTube videos. Great stuff about coins of change and how to effectively use it to your advantage. And I would just say this, one of the things that we talked about in the videos, coins of change is not a lottery system. It's not a lottery system. It's like pretty much anything else. What you work in it and what you put in it could be very, very beneficial to you and to your family. But if you don't put anything into it, it's one of those things that is not going to just pay you to sit on the couch. It's not going to do that. And so the best beneficial thing is for you to actively engage in work in it. It does pay. It does send you the contributions, because it doesn't make payments. It does send you the contributions that you can turn into whatever it is that you would like to do. You can turn it into business opportunities, investing ventures, or into acquiring assets, or into whatever it is that you would like to do, pay off some debt, however you would like to do it. So the platform does work, and I actually show it. But I haven't uploaded those videos, really, really good videos where it'll give you a little more. And I'm going to actually add another video on it, on how to actually from start to finish sign up from a YouTube, so where you can actually see me do it. I'm going to actually put a camera on, showing how to do it, so that those of you that are members, you can pass it on to potential people that you would like to bring to the program. So that will be done. Okay, next, what else we got? Man, I missed, for those of you that are in Trade Coin Club, those of you that were able to create a for those of you that are outside of the United States, Tradecoin Club continues. And so the benefit of that platform, I actually like Tradecoin Club a whole lot. It actually paid out. It actually was paying what it was said it would, which was phenomenal. But because of what's going on in the world, factor and capital controls, which is going to be the Friday show, capital controls, is actually happening. Ladies and gentlemen, the tightening, the enhancement, the bondage, the strains of bondage economically are happening at a breakneck speed here in what many call the Corporation of the United States. It is speeding up. And this is what some of the things that we bring out in this show is you need to be prepared for that and see it happening and have an appropriate response to it before it adversely affects you, or for you to grab onto the potential opportunities to protect you from that. And I'm going to tell you, Coins of Change is one of it. Is one of those things that it has. And when you look at these next videos that I did, I actually show you how it has and how it does. So if you engage and seize on the opportunities that are there, you put yourself, your family, and those of you not yet named in a better position than they would otherwise have been by you doing nothing or doing the exact same thing that the system has taught us to do in the past. So that is there. And, man, I miss didn't like Tradecoin Club closing up. But you have Coins of Change. That is a great, great platform. The cryptocurrencies have actually had a pullback today, significant pullback since the last month of probably about $8,000 for Bitcoin, which is good, and it's having a pullback in all in necessary, expected it, and actually expected to do other things too. So that is happening as we speak now. So we need to seize and know what those opportunities will be from there, and just work them to our advantage, because this is definitely, to me, an opportunity. So I think we'll touch lightly on that. I doubt that we'll do it today. So let's get into what's in the news. But before we do that, if you'd like to get in on today's conversation at any time, I'm going to try to stick to get the actual, because yesterday I didn't get out much of the program that I wanted to get out because of other things, but it was worthwhile because it was engaging with some of the listeners, which I always appreciate, and it's more important to me than anything else. So we're going to get into today's show. Let me just set up here, and we're going to jump into yesterday. We didn't bring you what's in the news, but we're going to bring what's in the news to you from yesterday, and to bring you up to speed as we speak right now. Just give me 1 second. We'll get back in that platform, and while I'm in what's in the news, if there's a question or comment, you can give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. And I won't be able to see you in queue, but I definitely will be able to hear. You could just say, excuse me, and I'll go to you. So definitely let's set up that. I need to, 1 second. 1 second. Having a little problem here. Let me close this one out and then open this one up. Okay. So what's in the news? And the first article, well, we need to go back to yesterday and start from there. Some very significant ones that were there that we didn't get to talk about, and is going to be a part of today's show. There we go. Let me just pull this up, and we will get started. All right, so a little slow. System is slow because of where, like I was telling you guys, living out in the country, my internet is real slow, which is okay because it's the trade-off for either have this or have that. All right, so from yesterday, the 15th, what was in the news? And so we're going to bring that to you all. I started and we talked about Hawaii's no missile threat after false Emergency Alert System, or EAS, broadcast on Thursday. I'm going to talk extensively about that. I'm not going to talk about that as extensively as today because that was very, very significant. It needs its own show. So we'll talk about that on Thursday. But we briefly touched on that. And there was one more thing about that. Can't remember. So it'll come to me later. But Thursday, we will definitely talk about that. So next article from yesterday, very, very important. This one came from, I posted this one from Strategic Culture, Australia. Hard choice between China and the U.S. We need to read this article. And I'm going to tell you, they have already chose China. And this one comes from Strategic Culture. Australia has always believed that it doesn't have to choose between economic relationships with China and its defense and alliance with the United States. But in 2018, it is already shaping up to be the year of hard choices. Man, oh man, check out that article, and that definitely plays into today's topic as well. Next article from express.co.uk. North Korea, shocking warning. Kim outsmarted Trump in latest move, says former U.S. official. North Korea and America have been involved in a war of words in recent months, and Kim Jong-un's threatening to attack the United States with his nuclear program. North Korea has entered into talks with South Korea for the first time since 2015 in a move that Mr. Milov said outsmarted Donald Trump, celebrity figurehead President Donald Trump. So check out that article. This is all a part of the systematic purge and where it's going to be pushing to World War III that's going to lead to thermonuclear war one, global nuclear war one, GNW1. Next article from Sputnik News. Very, very important article. Japan tightens patrol around North Korea at U.S. request. This is important, extremely important. Is going to be one of the backdrops of the false flag war that's going to start, or the war that's going to start by way of an engagement of a false flag. The latest rounds of sanctions adopted by the UN Security Council against Pyongyang, which means North Korea, limit refined petroleum exports to 2 million barrels a year. The U.S. and 16 other countries have requested Japan's maritime self-defense forces to patrol the waters of North Korea to locate ships trying to freight oil into breaches of the UN security sanctions. Man, that is going to cause for engagement. And there's also the oil tanker, the Iranian oil tanker that was allegedly hit a Chinese vessel, but I actually think that it was actually torpedoed, and that's my own opinion. So check out that article. Sputnik News. U.S. and 16 allies urges nations to catch ships violating North Korea sanctions. Next article comes from RT International. Russia warns U.S. about futile and viciousness of Washington's stance on Iranian deal. Very, very, very important article. Russia has lambasted the apparent U.S. intentions to pull out of the Iranian nuclear deal and scrap the agreement. Such a move could be one of Washington's grave foreign policy mistakes. This is the war, y'all, and it is definitely picking up. Check out that article. Next article, this one comes from Press TV. Two Koreans hold follow-up talks on Winter Olympics. North Korea and South Korea have held a new rounds of talks aimed at hammering out deals of North Korea. Plans to send a group of art performers to the South for next month's Winter Olympics. 8 officials from 4 countries each side met on Monday and shared broad villages of, so the rest of it is there. So basically, North Korea and South Korea continue their overall talks, which is the backdrop for the This is the setup, the plausible deniability for the false flag that is actually being formed right now, as North Korea and South Korea will actually show unity at the Olympics, which is the actual start of the publicized reunifications of the Koreas, North and South Korea, in my opinion. Very, very strategically important and relevant to your overall quality of life and standard of living. Because of that, when that happens, your overall quality of life and standard of living here in the so-called corporation of the United States will go to kaput. Next article from Alt Media, The Strange Case for Falling Dollar and What It Means for Gold. Man, great article. We check out that one, posted there. Significant. Next article, I got this one from Health Nut News. The 84th holistic doctor found dead, murdered in home. Police asked for help. The recap of 84 doctors' death can be found here. Warning, it is a long read and more of a book. It is with great sadness that we report that Dr. Clive Bridgingham of West Providence, Rhode Island, was found dead in his home on Thursday night. This is very, very significant to me and should be to you, because what the signal is and why is this happening. This is a part of a genocide of occupations because of what that choice occupation is. So check out that article. Next article comes from Sputnik News. No, this one is Life Hacks, How to Survive a Ballistic Missile Attack. That'll be appropriate for tomorrow when we go. Next article from Sputnik News. When pot is legal, peace prevails. Violence drops in states with legal marijuana. This comes from Sputnik News. The legalization of marijuana for medical use has resulted in a significant drop in instances of violent crimes in those United States that share a border with Mexico, according to new research. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is all a part of the setup. Yes, this is true. But this is the setup, is because what is about to change here in the so-called continental United States, and the United States in general, is going to be so drastic that they don't want people to be able to start to fight back. And how do you do that? You legalize marijuana so that will bring about a docileness that the people will not want to engage in any form. You actually sedate them into surrenderance. This is why this big push has been going on, and that's the true nature and the intention of it. The intentions of it is not what people think. The intent is always a part of the conspiracy. There is no such thing as a conspiracy theory. It's the conspiracy facts that shows the conspiracy agenda. So this is one of the very telling things, and this is why you're seeing so much of it being pushed all over, because that's the whole setup. So check out that article. Next article, got this from The Hill. McMaster's, Russia interfered in Mexican elections. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster said that there was early signs of Russia's interfering in Mexico's presidential election. And key thing about that is Mexico hadn't even had the election yet. But this is the purge, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be brought forth against, and it is serving up to to provide more control for the system against the general global human population. So check out that article. Next article from Lion Lack of Fox News. And it says, Kentucky to add Medicaid workers requirement, first state to follow Trump's plan. Kentucky received the green light Friday to require many of its Medicaid recipients to work in order to receive coverage. Significant thing. Why is this so significant? Because this is the austerity measures, growing austerity measures. And believe me, they plan on setting everything up. Next article I posted from, this is a very, very important one from TASS. It's a Russian publication. Russian military eliminates militants who shelled Hemia Air Base on December the 31st. The Russian military has wiped out a subversive militant group which has shelled the air base in Syria with mortars on December the 31st. The Russian defense minister reported on Friday. According to the ministry, a special operation was held to spot and eliminate the militant group. So, ladies and gentlemen, the overall war is definitely kicking up, and this engagement is going to continue. Next article, I posted this one from newstrust.org. Food riots grip western Venezuela. Mobs reportedly slaughter cattle in the field. Unrest over food shortages spread throughout the country. Hungry mobs ransacked a food collection center and a supermarket in Venezuela's western states of Meridia on Thursday, and reportedly even slaughtered cattle grazing in the field as unrest over food shortages spread throughout the country. Well, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at these reports, and I don't know how accurate they are, but I wouldn't be surprised if they are. But I'm going to tell you this: what's happening in Venezuela is going to happen here by tenfold, and this is why you're going to want to be prepared for it. And if not prepared for it and properly having the proper attention for it, it is not going to eliminate you from the consequences of ignoring reality. Doesn't matter. It will not protect you, and you want to do as much as you possibly can. This is serious, and what I mean by serious, I think that every person here's life should change financially and should change commitment-wise, and to change from breaking from the overall schooled mentality to being sovereign and self-determination, and that means in every form and fashion. And hopefully you will have enough time and enough space to be able to put yourself and your family in a position to where you can seize on opportunities, because we are moving into a space. We're moving quickly into the fulfillment or the overt fulfillment of what the agenda really, or what the system wants. It wants to bring the rest of the world under control by utterly destroying what was commonly referred to as the Corporation of the United States. And they are going to bring it down. They don't care what color you are, who you are, geopolitical, economic statute, but because it is all collateral damage to them for their overall purpose of control. And they are going to, and those that think that it can never happen here in the country, that's because you've been thoroughly schooled in what the system wants you to think. They don't want you to think for yourself. It tells you what to think. And that telling you what to think will say, nah, that won't happen here. Well, when it does, what will you do? And I'm going to tell you what you'll do. And those that are not prepared, what they'll do. They'll be in a position of disadvantage, and they won't like that uncomfortable position at all. It is a very unforgiving position. And it doesn't, and it's even for many that are prepared. And one of the things that definitely you want to prepare first and foremost with it is your overall true nature of yourself, who you really are. Your self-determination is where you start. Start thinking for yourself. And then from there, you can start, believe me, the universal truths will start to bring you opportunities that you will be able to use, because that's what's so great about people, is that human beings have the relentless human spirit to endure, and you'll do fine. But see, the system has actually diluted and sedated that overall human resistance to where it has no strength of credibility at all. It breaks and fractures under every form of pressure, every form of confrontation, and every form of contention. It breaks. It has no spine. It actually facilitates a mentality where if somebody won't change it for me, then I'm just going to keep saying with no action behind it. We have an inaction about the way that we respond to things, and that's what the system has always really taught. So critical thing that's there. Next article from lendyou.com. Poll: some investors use credit card to buy Bitcoin, and then carry over the balance. Check out that article. Next article from Global Times, Critical One. And this is the PLA, which is the Chinese military, training hard for potential conflict. Global Times. The People's Liberation Army, the PLA, has been fully exercising in military training instructions issued by the celebrity figurehead president of China, Xi Jinping, on January the 3rd, and conducting drills at home and abroad involving, here that is, home and abroad, involving its ground forces. What do you think is abroad? It is Syria. It is in Africa. It is in the United States by covert operations. One of the things that we read a couple of years ago is that China said that they will actually support, and aid and harbor the U.S.'s enemies so that they can do what? Attack and destabilize. It is definitely going to happen, y'all. Next article from Reuters, posted from yesterday. It says, thanks but no thanks. Norwegians reject Trump's immigration offer. And celebrity figurehead Trump was asking about why can't we get people from Norway to come to the country instead of, that's where the derogatory statement that was made about Africa, Haiti, and other countries supposedly was made at that overall gathering, and he was asking why can't immigrants from Norway come here, and Norway has rejected, well, not all of Norway, but just a response. And this is the system really propagandizing this whole thing of destabilization, because the rest of the world, this is one of the critical things that the rest of the world is going to be used to purge the U.S. and to discredit and to bring about propaganda to destabilize it here. And is it definitely something that should happen? Yes, it should. But the whole system is not what their celebrity figureheads that should be fallen, because by doing that, then we facilitate the worst part of ourselves, our emotional anger and our sense of emotions to things. And our sense of emotions continues to keep us under subjugation. We have to break that. So check out that article. Next article, very, very important one. Disturbing parallels between U.S. policing at home and military tactics abroad. So that is one we're going to have to cover next week, definitely. And last but not least, it's a couple other ones. Oh, man, too many. Too many to count. Okay, a couple of other ones. Real good ones. I posted this one from the New York Times. We got to go through this because there's just too many good ones that's here. Military quietly prepares for a last resort war with North Korea. And we will carry this as well. The U.S. military, check this. This is getting you prepared to say, well, we told you that was going to happen and you didn't prepare. That's your fault. And then go to this place and then come run to us for aid. Military quietly prepares for a last resort war. And there's no last resort, ladies and gentlemen. They are preparing for war. And yes, the U.S. military is actively preparing for war. But not only is the U.S. military, China is, Japan is, North Korea is, South Korea is, Russia is preparing. Iran is preparing for the war, and they've taken all their sides. And Pakistan is preparing. Canada is preparing. Britain is preparing. Germany is preparing. Norway is preparing. Sweden is preparing. South Africa is preparing. India is preparing. All these countries are preparing because they know it's going to be just a matter of time before it kicks off, and they want to be in a position that they're going to be able to leverage it to their advantage, while people here in the States is walking around as if nothing will happen, because when it does happen, the first thing that they will ask is, what happened? Huh? So, not good. Check out that article. Next article, my man Rise posted this one, How to Survive a Nuclear Fallout. I think we got that from the same spot. So check out that article. Next article, Rise posted. This one says that there's a global culture of pedophiles and sexual terrorists that started with the enslavement of non-white people. So check out this article. That was Rise commentary from DW.com. Denmark, over 1,000 youths charged with sharing underage sex videos. Check out that article. Next article, Rise posted this from Cerebrally Naive Network. He said, you think? Dent, shithole remark may have consequences in Africa. This going to have, this is the whole setup, is that the setup is for all. And I definitely see that there will be in the future, after China and Russia and all will be removed as the beacons of freedom, like the U.S. will be removed. The next nation, I believe, will be coming out of the continent commonly referred to as Africa, and I have a guess as to which that overall country will be as that new economic superpower and military superpower. I definitely think it's either going to be South Africa, Nigeria, or Libya. And this is way before, I'm talking about a couple of hundred years, or just short of a couple of 100 years, 130 years from now, where the next superpower will come out of, because that's what this system does. It prepares for control hundreds of years. It doesn't look at the overall span of life in 2-week increments that they tell you to do that, because then that keeps you short-sighted. And it keeps you not having an open mind, but being very closed-minded. And that a person that is closed-minded is very easy to domesticate and train and to lead to their own demise. Next article, Rise posted this one. This microchip Bitcoin wallet could be the future of cryptocurrency. Rise sent it down when it came from Trusted Review. Great article, Rise. Next, I pass on that one. Next one from Thought Company, How to Prepare Your Pantry for Severe Weather. Ross put that one in. Man, that's a great article. Definitely you should be checking that one out. Next article from Tech Spot. Ross posted this one, China to block central trading of cryptocurrency. And check out that article. That's some of the moves as to why the cryptos is going down now. But yeah, right, believe me, none of that will have any real relevance. Check out that article. Next article, Rise posted a great read about Dr. King and who he was from Africa Speaks. Next last article, very, very critical, super important article. And this is going to be a part of Today and Friday show. Germany to include Chinese yuan in currency reserves. And this one I got from RT. And thanks to Kevin and Chris that sent me that. And I said, this is done, son. This is critical. This means I'm going to lay this out as we come back to that. So that was what was in the news from the other day, from yesterday. Then we need to add what was in the news today, and then we will have been caught up, and we're going to jump right into today's show. Next article, very, very important. I have these articles because they are significant, so that you see what's going on, and it's not just from a different perspective, so that you can be aware, because you are inundated with nonsense. Next article, I got this from NBC News. North Korea did not react to false Hawaii missile alert, Mattis said, and that's going to be for tomorrow article. So it tells you everything right there. Next article from Yahoo. Iranian oil tanker explodes and sinks off of the coast of China with no survivors. And I actually think that, remember, the U.S. in telling Japan and other 16 nations to intercept. And basically what that means is the U.S. has invoked a embargo, a naval blockade against North Korea. That is going to cause a definite war, ladies and gentlemen. This is why this war definitely is going to start. So we'll pick up that as well. Next article from Sputnik News. 2 Koreas may march under unified flag at the Olympics. Knew this was coming, and this means the overall this is the death knell to the U.S. dollar and the overall standard of living and quality of life and standard of living for those here in the United States. For today's show's topic is the world is publicizing a global U.S. rebuff and handing you the debt. Here comes the debt that they're going to hand you, and this one is going to be such a severe debt, and that debt is going to carry over into an asset-based economy when you won't have any assets. So this is going to impoverish you far beyond what you've ever been impoverished before. Historically, here, beyond that. So very, very, very critical. And the preparation is so needed for you all to engage and see this and to have an appropriate response to it. I have no qualms in saying this because it is going to come to pass. I don't want it to come to pass today and tomorrow. And for those individuals say, well, when is this going to happen? It doesn't matter when it's going to happen because you ain't prepared for it. But when it does, believe me, it's going to catch you slipping and it's going to catch you sleeping. So why do you care when it's going to happen? So it is definitely already happened, but we're sedated. So many people are sedated. Next article. Oh, I'll get this thing to move. Next article. Never fails when we end what's in the news and we talk about certain things. My darn internet goes down. Not saying that anyone is messing with the internet, but it just happens. Okay, so next article. Very, very important from the LA Times. North Korea is playing a new tune as it gears up for the Winter Olympics. Boy, the Olympics, I said this before, the Olympics is going to be critical to watch what happens because from there gives the perfect opportunity for a false flag and many other things to happen. So we got to keep an eye on that. Next article from Press TV. Nigeria calls the U.S. envoy over Trump's Africa slurs. The Purge, ladies and gentlemen. Next article, and this is from Electronic Frontier Foundation. I meant to push this yesterday. FBI suicide letter to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the dangers of unchecked surveillance. Check out that. And now that's what you have now, completely unchecked surveillance. Next article, and one of the key articles for today's show is going to be, this one comes from Wall Street Journal. Dollar gets the cold shoulder in global boom. Check out that article that's there. And thanks, Kev, for sending me that one. Next article, critical one. Critical one. This one comes from Reuters. China's Dengong, which is one of their rating agencies, cuts the U.S. sovereign rating to BB+ from A-. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, the rest of the world, this goes along with China not buying the debt as well. China says, oh, no, we're going to buy. No, they're not. If they start downgrading the overall credit rating, that tells you that they are not buying the debt. And what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that a pack of gum is going to cost you $200 here in the United States, $200 US that you won't have because your overall salaries and how you get paid are going to be even less. If you're paid $25,000 a year, you will still be getting paid $25,000 or even $18,000 a year, but your overall cost of living is going to go up multiples of 1,000 times. What does that mean? You go without. This is where, this is how, and this is why it's over. the false paradigm of the U.S., the falsehood and the misnomer of U.S. wealth is going to show itself brightly. Just like there is no such thing as moonlight, the facade of the United States wealth is about to show you there is no such thing as moonlight. It's a reflection. So check out that article. That is going to be a critical part of today's show. Next article I got from Washington Times. Very, very important. Said this was going to happen last winter when they were talking about the sanctuary cities. In Washington Times, Department of Homeland Security seeks to charge leaders of sanctuary cities. And this is going to be about the purge and the destabilization in the untied states of America. And we'll talk about this, but I need to talk about this real quickly. Here's what's going to happen. I actually said that this is part of the destabilization. All these sanctuary cities, all of the so-called mayors and all of the people that are a part of the sanctuary cities, you're being set up by the system you're cruising for a bruising. And those in the law enforcement community that are backing that, you're really cruising for a bruising, but your bruising will be much different. They are actually setting up for you to be deemed as an enemy combatant and to be engaging in an armed insurrection where the overall penalty for that crime is punishable by death. They're going to kill you. And this is all being played out. And this is what the general population is not seeing, how this whole thing is going to bring about such turmoil here. So they're going to prosecute. They're going to try. And guess what? Their overall laws have been written so that those individuals that are trying to protect the sanctuary cities, you're doing it all wrong. You're falling right for the old okie doke, plausible deniability. They have already legislated into law that is a crime for you to do that, a federal crime. And those that are, like I was saying, those overall police, I had talked about a specific law enforcement official, and it was the chief out of Los Angeles, who I know, and was saying you're being set up for a major, major fall by taking that stand, and when should not have taken that stand at all, not needed to do it, and shouldn't have been set up for the fight to be done that way. You're going to get had. What is dangerous about this is that those overall police chiefs and all law enforcement officials, they are in charge of a quasi-military organization. And when you deny and you don't go with what the feds say in the federal law, you are now engaging in armed insurrection, and the penalty of that is death. The setup, y'all. And you may think, well, good. No, this whole setup is really being set up to attack you, the general population, because this is going to bring about the destabilization in the untied states of America, but not the way that you think, for the overall common good. It's going to be set up by the state of confusion, chaos, and confusion to have order and to get people to obey. The setup is definitely here. So check out that article. Next article, my man Rise posted this one. Russia, biggest lender, opens a blockchain lab. Check out that article. Next article, Rise posted this from CCN. Bitcoin poses no threat to dollar, Federal Reserve official says. And the Federal Reserve official that said this is from out of Minneapolis. Let me move this down. Nell Khazar is one of the I would say this is that he takes the good cop side of in many issues for the people, and believe me, but it's still a celebrity figurehead position, but it is so true. The setup is there, so that's what's in the news, and so we're going to jump into today's show. And the world is publicizing a global U.S. rebuff and handing you the debt. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, this is a debt that you do not want to have. And there's a couple of ways that you can mitigate and ensure that that debt is not passed on to you, and is not by doing what the system has told you to do. And so now we're back on the board. Hey, Strategic Melanin, good to see you, sister. Is there. So if you'd like to get in on the conversation, I can see you in queue. If you wanted to call in, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025, for sure, 9025. And then I will see you in queue, and we'll bring you up, and we will engage in the conversation. So what I want to do real quickly, I'm going to go off the board for a second, because what we need to do in today's show is there's a couple of articles that we need to really look at for today's show. The world is publicizing a global U.S. rebuff. What does that mean? Put that in there, because the rest of the world is denying the U.S., and they want nothing to do with it. This is why the comments, this is why the sentiments, this is why you're seeing what is happening, because it's all the drama for the theatric demise of the empire. All empires that the systems create, the systems actually have those empires fall to the overall system's benefit, so that the system will never be challenged. And that is what's going to happen. It's not by what most of us may think, because the overall domestication of the schooling system has led us to believe. And because of that, the system remains in place, unchecked, unchallenged. And let me tell you something about the system. It cannot withstand any formidable challenge, just like the Wizard of Oz. Once you draw back the curtains, you'll see no power is there at all. But the illusion of power is stronger than the overall presence of a physical impact. So we need to really take a look. There's a couple of articles. I forgot I laid one out. Let me go grab the other one really quickly, and we'll bring it up, because it's very, very telling. And I got to bring it back from yesterday's, there it is, from yesterday's listings of what's in the news. And we're going to go to Germany. There it is. Germany to include the Chinese yuan in currency reserve. We need to take a look at this and show you what that means and why that's so significant. So we're going to do that. It's two articles that we need to read. It's actually three articles, but I'm going to start with let me grab the other one really quickly. So the one that we need to, and I would suggest that you go back into BTR community and pull up from RT International, Germany to include Chinese yuan in the reserve currency. Actually, it should be the Chinese renminbi into currency reserves. And also today we posted from the Wall Street Journal, dollar gets the cold shoulder in global economic boom, telling everything. And the other article that facilitates and validates what's happening, real quickly, let me pull this up before we go into the commercial break. 1 second. Just had it here. It was, here we go. Nope, that wasn't it. It was the story of the Russians saying that it is futile and vicious for Washington to leave the Iranian deal, and the Korean story of the Express.co story of North Korea, Kim Jong-un outsmarted Trump in the latest move. No. My mistake. Here's the other one, which is from Strategic Culture. Sorry about that, y'all. The Australian hard choices between the U.S. and China. That is the setup for today's show. Those three articles are critically important to today's show. So we're going to take a look at them, and we're getting ready to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we need to lay this out, and believe me, please make sure that you're ready for it as much as you can and do what you can. Don't waste the moments and the opportunities that you have to position yourself, because when you do it correctly, you'll be in a better position, and you will actually bring about a self-immunization, and then you will also be able to protect yourself from the illegitimate debt default. So you're listening to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. Getting ready to go to a commercial break. When we come back, if you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. Then hit star CUNQ, and we'll bring you up. We'll be right back after these quick commercial breaks.
Black Talk Radio Network. For podcasts and live program scheduling, visit us on the web at blacktalkradionetwork.com.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. Your host, Dave from L.A. If you'd like to get in on today's conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. Then hit star. We'll see you in queue, and we'll definitely bring you up. So want to just let me pull up one article that I was hoping. 1 second, need to bring this one article up and get this to you all. Okay, so 1 second. So today's show, and we're going to jump into it right now. Today's show is all about the rebuffing. The world is rebuffing. And actually how we put it for today's show, once again, the world is publicizing a global U.S. rebuff and handing you the debt. And the debt and the you that I mean is the people that are commonly referred to as citizens of the United States. This is critical, and you need to know and properly prepare yourself for it. First article was a Wall Street Journal article that I want to read to you all real quickly and to see what this means. And this is from the Wall Street Journal. Dollar gets the cold shoulder in global economic boom. Investors are flocking to the yen, euro, and other currencies amidst promise of quickening growth overseas. Now, this is very, very critical. Why is that? If global investors, sovereign wealth funds, are flocking to the yen, the euro, and other currencies, do you know what those other currencies are? The Chinese renminbi, the Russian ruble, and anything else that's not the U.S. And what are they doing that with? They're using their U.S. dollars to do that, meaning they're getting rid of their U.S. dollars because they know that they are the economic debt note that is gone into default already. That's gone into default. And since it's gone into default, they don't want to be holding it when it no longer has any purchasing power. Guess who's going to hold it? Oh, you're going to have more dollars than you ever known what to do with. You could fill up your whole car with it, but you won't be able to even fill the space between the floorboard and your seat and the passenger's side of the car with goods that you purchased with that car full of cash. Purchasing power will be lost. And that is going to starve many people here, because many people here are 100% reliant upon that debt instrument, what man has created to steal your energy. One, because you didn't know. Two, because you didn't know and you didn't find out. And three is because you didn't take action when you did know, from which you could have done and what you should be doing now. Doesn't matter how much you have or how little you have or how much you have. All that you have in U.S. Currency is worthless right now until you exchange it for something else. And then there's going to be a time and place where you won't be able to exchange it for anything. Don't be caught holding the debt in default. Article says the dollar decline is the latest reversal of many investors who expect the currency to rise as the Federal Reserve continues a year-long path of gradual interest rate increases. The promise of accelerating economic growth overseas is propelling investor funds into the yen, the euro, and many other emerging market currencies, intensifying a year-long siege on the U.S. dollar. See, there has been more than a year-long siege, but people in our community have not been aware of what's going on because very few are telling them the truth about things, and that way the people are not prepared. One of the things that's very, very important about currency is this. It's the velocity of currency. And if you don't know the velocity of currency, then you are putting yourself and your family in a position of economic disadvantage. Here's what I mean by that. If you are unaware of the importance of leveraging against the debt instrument of default and in doing it in a manner of that best benefits your family, meaning as soon as you get it, you should be transferred. The velocity of you getting rid of it is important because the longer you hold on to it, the more damage it does to you. The overall cycle of it, of how many times it's been used, by the time it gets to you, it's losing so much of its purchasing power. And the more you save in that thing, the more that you are condemning and you're having a segment of prosperity defranchisement that you are setting forth to those that you have yet not named. Go on. The ICE dollar index hit the lowest level in more than 3 years on Friday, extending a nearly 10% decline last year that the market dollar's steepest annual fall since 2003. See, people are not even recognizing what this really means. Listen to this again. And this is in the Wall Street Journal because they tell you before they do it. The ICE dollar index hit the lowest level in more than 3 years on Friday. Friday the 14th. Friday the whatever last Friday was, the 12th. Extending a nearly 10% decline last year that marked the dollar's steepest annual fall since 2003. So it continues. That 10% decline is continue. What does that mean? Let me tell you what that means, ladies and gentlemen. Simply means this. That decline is being pushed to you to where what you have in dollars is losing purchasing power. It's not that the price of milk, hamburger, cars or homes is going up. It's the overall medium of exchange where you can exchange your debt instrument of cash for that overall line item is losing its standing. Meaning you need to give more paper to get it, not because the item has gone up, is that your overall dollar is becoming worthless, is losing purchasing power. Meaning, when you hold it in your bank account, you fight with family members and you fight with individuals that try to tell you that, you need to be doing this and doing that because this is all a setup, and you yelling conspiracy theory. Well, I'm going to tell you something. System wants you to do that. The system has trained you to defend your own demise. You can ignore reality, but you won't ignore the consequences of this 10% drop. And the consequences of this 10% drops is this, ladies and gentlemen. You won't have enough to maintain your standard of living and your quality of life that you've been accustomed to. One, because we've been wasting it on frivolous junk, consumer goods, and not acquiring real money, not acquiring assets, not acquiring the shelters of immunity. Doesn't matter how much you have or how little is coming into you. What are you doing with what you do have is everything else. And what are you doing with the most important thing, your energy? The solutions can't always be provided for you. Sometimes we have to provide for ourselves and to really use our energy to be the solutions to everything. Because we have to break our dependency. The system has created a paradigm where we're dependent on somebody to tell us what the solution is and actually facilitate and create that solution for us. No, you got a backbone, pick it up. We have grasped this system so well that we say, I don't know. Because when we say we don't know, that means the only thing that we do know is what the system has taught us. We have to break that. Because without breaking that, there is no sovereignty or self-determination. It's ways and means. Your way of life provides for somebody else's means of life. The article continues. The index tracks the value of the currency based a basket of U.S. trading partners. The index tracks the value of the currency versus a basket of U.S. trading partners. Let me tell you what that means. That means that the index is looking at other currencies compared to the U.S. and what's happening. And guess what's happening? Those other countries are dropping their U.S. treasuries and dropping their U.S. debt. And guess who they're dropping it on? It's falling right on your head, and we didn't even say ouch. You know, in boxing, there's something called a delayed knockout. Believe me, they're going to delay the knockout of the everyday person here by choice. Don't even know that the punch has already met its target. Very, very important. I'm not quite sure. I'm not on the board. I think I heard someone in queue. Let me make sure. No. Okay. Great. Article continues. Oop, I shouldn't have did that. I messed it up. Okay, article continues. Investors point to the global economy upswing from recent months and a tentative accompanied steps by central banks in Europe and Japan to normalize monetary policies after years of expensive support. Meaning, what does that mean? Man, they can't do it anymore. Layman terms, they realize what's happening, and now they're making that move. And this is what they realize. They know what the system wants them to do because they're the minions of the system, and they're following their orders to the T. And they're giving you the clues that, hey, guess what? those of you in the U.S. and those of you that are dependent upon the U.S., the system wants that to fail and go into bankruptcy. And if you want to stay there and try to fight it out because you think it can never happen here, go right ahead. Stay there. Actually, we need you to stay there because it's you that is going to go into default. They need people to go into default, and they're creating that paradigm. While the European Central Bank and Japan continue to supply generous support to market, expectations are building that the world's biggest economies will soon unwind nearly a decade of post-crisis stimulation measures and eventually join the Federal Reserve in raising interest rates. That potential makes the dollar less appealing to the investors who for years piled into the U.S. asset, anticipating steady growth and accepting low yields still above market yield. While the Dow Industrials have surged to records alongside many other global stocks, major U.S. index has lagged behind foreign counterparts in recent months, a sign that the market has become something of a afterthought following a large gain earlier in this decade. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? That the rest of the world is moving in a different direction, but they want you to think that everything is okay here. The dollar narrative is one of the global regime shifts, says Mark, North American head for Forex strategies at TD Securities Economies. Like Europe and Japan are actually starting to look like places where you would want to invest, meaning divest yourself out of cash and invest yourself in U.S. dollars and invest yourself in other things. This is what we've been telling you to do with cryptocurrencies. This is what we've been telling you to do with your dollars. The wage of a slave is what? Is debt. And we've been telling you to take your overall slave wages and to convert them and leverage them into real money. Take the overall cryptocurrency currency and the movement and the velocity of that and to leverage that into what? Transferring it into real assets. Basically, the Wall Street Journal is telling and sending signals to their investors to do what Thando Radio Show has been telling you to do since we've been on air day one, 3.5 years ago. We'll go on real quickly. The dollar decline is the latest reversal for many investors who expect the currency to rise as the Fed continues a year-long path of gradual interest rate increases. Recently, the dollar decline has been slowed and steady, but the currency failure to tick up with news might seem to point towards a faster pace of a Fed rate increase or an upward tick in inflation has impressed itself upon some investors. We've been in a deflation. They're always going to go by deflation. That's going to lead into hyperinflation. And we are out of a deflationary period. We're starting to move into inflation and into the hyperinflation period. That's when people starve. Two recent examples stand out. Robust U.S. consumer price data on Friday did not spur a dollar rally, and Treasury yields in recent weeks have had no appreciable effect on the currency, even as the reuniting of a long-standing market debate whether interest rates would eventually return to pre-crisis level. You are seeing all the positive signs that should be cause for the dollar to strengthen, having virtually no effect, which, and this was said by head of Haddock Capital Management, which oversees $388 million. Mr. Hatter is betting that the dollar will decline against currencies of commodity-producing emerging markets such as Malaysia, Chile, and Colombia. Many analysts believe the dollar decline in 2018 is likely to be accelerated by the passage of the U.S. tax bill. Stop right there. Moody's said that they will downgrade the U.S. because of the Trump tax initiative. China just downgraded. China's rating agency just downgraded. Ladies and gentlemen, hyperinflation is right around the corner. Article says, which is widely to expect the expanding of the U.S. fiscal deficit. This is why Moody's is going to downgrade the U.S. This is why the rest of the world has already downgraded the U.S., and this is why that downgrade is going to fall on our heads in the form of debt. Debt that can no longer be serviced means that there is going to be a receivership in a default. So check out that article. Well, let me finish it real quick. Okay, yeah. Well, let me move from this article. That is very, very important, that article. Hope you caught what was happening here. Now, the other article, very, very important one. And we're going to, oh, man. It gave me, let me go back to, I missed one, and let me just pull this one up. So while I'm doing that, let me just tell you why this is so relevant. This is so relevant because this is your demise. This is your hardship. This is your austerity measures. This is your collapse that is being created. The other article was from yesterday. Let me pull that one back up. I hit it, but it didn't. Oops, there it is. Hopefully it comes up. Okay, I hit it too many times. Okay, let me just, all right, so here it is. The other article. Okay, it's there, cool. The other article that we need to take a look at is this one from Reuters. From RT International. Let me jump into this really quickly. And the article is Germany to add the Chinese yuan to reserve currency. And for Germany to do that, Germany to include Chinese yuan in reserve currency. In order for Germany to do that, what do you think that they're going to, if they're going to add, if they're going to buy someone's debt, what debt do you think that they're going to be selling to do that? The U.S. maybe? Yes, absolutely. What does this mean? This just means the breakup of NATO. China has just now successfully broke up NATO by breaking up Germany's economic ties to the United States. That's what this article means. And it's huge, and it was from yesterday. Here it is. German central banks have decided to add the Chinese currency to its foreign exchange reserves, according to Bundesbank's board member. The move could further boost the international status of the yuan, or the renminbi. Speaking at a finance forum on Monday, he said that the decision was taken last year after the European Central Bank, the ECB, switched 500 million euros or $611 million worth of U.S. dollar reserves into the yuan. The move reportedly reflects the increased use of the Chinese currency and Beijing's importance as one of the Eurozone's biggest trading partner. Nothing else needs to be said. It's over. It's done. You can try to deny this. Those that you've been talking to, if they don't see what's happening, they are not going to get it until they start to starve. And this is just the brutal truth of it all. Did you hear what was just said out of Germany yesterday? They took and they switched $111 million worth of U.S. dollar reserves into yuan. This is what investors are doing. This is what sovereign wealth funds are doing. This is what sovereign nations are doing. This isn't what is being told of the warnings of what's happening here for you. And if they sold $600 million worth of U.S. reserves, guess who was the buyer of that? You were. That worthless cash is going to be falling on your head. And let me tell you something. It's not $600 million. $600 million they don't tell you what they really do. It's nowhere near that. It's far beyond that. $600 million to a sovereign wealth fund is like $10 to a millionaire. It's far, far worse than this. Once again, speaking at a financial forum on Monday. So if the individual was speaking in a financial forum on Monday, what do you think all of those that are at that forum were hearing? They were hearing, yo, you better drop the dollar because we already did. Since you're friends of ours, since your business, since we have a business relationship, we're dropping the dollar. And what does that tell the person that's there? Oh, well, I better drop it too. Who's been telling you to transfer into leverage out of your cash, your U.S. dollar, your debt-based depreciating instrument into a performing monetary instrument? For 3.5 years, it's what we've been telling you. This is what we said was going to be happening, and it's happening, and it's going to be far worse than what you can ever think. And we won't be able to go back to when the U.S. currency had confidence of trade so that you'll be able to say, okay, let me learn from that mistake and go back and fix it. You won't be able to do it. This is why becoming a member in Coins of Change is so important. This is why leveraging currency to acquire real assets and real money is important, because your overall window of opportunity is closing. You can't keep up with the velocity of money. You can't keep up with the velocity of currency. You're going to have to know these things and have a comprehensive strategical plan. And when you do a comprehensive, strategical, asymmetrical plan, you'll do fine. If you don't care today, we'll be crying tomorrow because we didn't care. Not caring has a consequence. Hate to say it, not knowing does too. When I don't know something, I'm not immune to the overall adverse effects of what I don't know. It actually is intensified because I go into it blindly. Had no clue, so I'm completely vulnerable. I don't protect myself appropriately. That's what happens to us all. And the system intentionally keeps us ignorant to monetary and economic things, so that we'll walk into the wall and walk into the overall ditch, into the dungeon of demise without even knowing, without even protecting ourselves. Protecting ourselves by what? Appropriately bringing things that get you out of the hole. Here it is, real quick before we go to the commercial break. Speaking at a financial forum on Monday, he said the decision was taken last year. They said this year, that they did this last year. So they've been unloading. Oh, man. They've been unloading for the past year. No. Actually, Germany has been unloading for the past 7 years. After taken last year, after the European Central Bank switched from 500 million euros, $611 million worth of its that they had in their reserve currency, U.S. dollar reserves, into yuan. The move reportedly reflected the increase in the use of the Chinese currency and Beijing's importance. That's the most critical thing. Beijing's importance. Let me tell you why that's the most important thing. Beijing's importance on the economic global scale is telling countries, guess what? If you have U.S. reserves in your overall reserves, you can't do business with China. You better divest yourself of those U.S. dollars and start buying Chinese debt. And guess what they're going to say? So say we agree. They're going to say, just like the overall Bud Light commercial, diddy diddy, diddly diddly. This is China telling the rest of the world, if you want to survive economically going into this new economy that's not based in debt, that's based in assets, then you better drop that debt instrument. The overall king of the debt paradigm known as the U.S. dollar. And you know what the countries are saying? You're right. We are siding with you. We're going with you. It's an economic. It ain't personal, homie. It's business. But I'm going to tell you, it may not be personal and it may be business, but our overall demise will personally destroy us for generations to come. It is personal. Because of Beijing's importance, they're going around and telling. And once Germany goes, if you know anything about the EU, where Germany goes, France has to go. And where France and Germany has to go, NATO has to go. So guess what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? When the war starts, who do you think the U.S. will have as an ally? Absolutely none, because China's and Beijing's important as one of the Eurozone's biggest trading partner will tell them, we have a problem.
Dave,
I have a problem. China will say, I have a problem. 1 second, Scotty. China will say, I have a problem. And if I have a problem, you all need to settle out and you need to take care of the problem that I have. And guess what they're going to say? We already know who the problem is and we're in support of you. This is where the untied states of America, this is where the divestment and the overall removing of the falling of the American empire is at here, and is not a good thing like we think. It is a part of the system. Go ahead, Scotty.
Yeah. Now, let me preface my comment by saying this, Dave. I absolutely support Pan-Africanists and their altruistic goals of, talking like Malcolm X was talking about, building a bridge to Africa. Yes. Between the diaspora and Africans and whatnot. And so, I was listening to one of our sister stations, and they had a guest on it, a very, very, very nice young man. He was honest about the things he didn't know. Because, you ask some people some questions. Instead of saying, I don't know, I'll find out, they'll give you some BS. You know what I'm saying? Like they do know. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't like that at all. And so he was very moved by going to Africa when he was like 13 to 14 years old. And so he keeps going back. And he talked about getting African Americans to invest in business and starting businesses. And I called in and I said to him, how do you compete with these countries like China who flood the global market with all of these cheap goods? Because whether we want to say they exploit the labor, you could look at it another way and say, well, since they give them free health care and take care of their housing needs, then they don't have to pay them as much. So, some people might say they exploit it. The thing is, they don't pay them as much as what it takes for American workers to be able to have a living wage. China doesn't have to, and a lot of those Asian countries don't do that. So I said to him, so how will we be able to compete with the goods that China is flooding the global market with? That means then we will have to exploit people too, or not pay them a living wage in order to even compete against something like that. And he was like, he gave me an honest answer. He said, I'm still studying. He said, I don't know. I'm still studying. And I appreciate that very much when somebody don't give me BS and they say they don't know. Now, today, Every morning when I get up, I look to post, news and information, videos and stuff to the channels I'm subscribed to. And I'm subscribed to a lot of African-based news media. Dave, I posted about 5 stories this morning about China making economic deals in these countries. And I'm like, how can we compete against that as African Americans?
Right.
And so I'm just saying that we have to have the correct information. We can't just be going off of hope and aspirations, and we have to acknowledge the facts on the ground. And I just want, my question to you, are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing? And do you think that presents challenges to, let's say, the African diaspora to set up businesses in African nations when China is in all of them, man, and giving them billions to do their infrastructure and factories? What are your thoughts before we go to break?
Man, yeah, but before we go to break, so you know what, Scotty, is very, very important what you just said is, if we are not leveraging ourselves correctly in this overall global economy and realizing what the playing field is, what the real traps and what the real intention is. I'm going to tell you what China's, in my opinion, what China's intentions is from my years of study of this whole thing, is that they are looking to exploit other countries for their resources because they know that they're going to bring the resources as an asset-based economy to make them extremely wealthy because they have the largest population in the world. In order to feed that largest population in the world, it's going to have to change its overall economic standing. It's going to have the world servicing China. And to compete with China right now, as with business on the continent and for the resources, good luck. I will tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. The influence of China going into this, and I don't think it is all a benevolent intentions at all. And I know that because right now, in going into an asset-based economy, what do you need to do? You need to go to the basket of assets and try to control that overall situation. And China knows that the U.S. was using military force and sanctions and force to extract and to colonize countries on the continent. China says that there's a different way that we need to do it, although the systematic intent is still the same, but we can't play that same card. We can't play that same game. We have to come in another way to get what the U.S. has been getting for years, but we need to get it. Now we need to use that overall, the people being tired of the U.S. exploiting them. We need to use that to our advantage, but still take from them. That's what I see. That's what I've been seeing in all of my studies. And this is why Gaddafi was so critical and why he had to be removed, because Gaddafi did what Kennedy, what Malcolm, and what Martin and what Chavez did, was that they were actually schooled by the system. Then they turned their face on him and said, nah, I'm not going to do it. And to different degrees, I'm not going to do it. That's not, and so now they said that this is an economic this is a challenge to the system, so we need to take them out so other people won't start to emulate and really listen to what these individuals are saying. I think that with the global move, it is the same system that is being the puppeteers of the same old thing that has plagued us for years. Is just coming about a different way, and they're revolutionizing their control. How do we get away from this? Until we start controlling resources, the economy will never, ever need us. until the general, and I say we, I'm not talking about you and me, I'm talking about the overall general population throughout the world, until we realize that this system is the system is what's plaguing us, until we remove ourselves systematically from that system and engage into controlling and utilizing resources to our sustainable good, the system will continue to bring up and revolutionize new methods of control by different languages, by different cultures, by different flags. But it'd be the same old stuff. And the stuff is not the word I would be using. Listen, got to get ready to go to a commercial break. If you're listening, you'd like to jump in on the conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. Hit ***. We'll see you in queue and we'll bring you up. You're listening to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Talk Media Project would like to invite you to become a member of the BTR Community subscription-based social media platform. BTR Community is a platform that was set up for the listening audience of Black Talk Radio Network, the #1 independent black radio network online. For just $24 per year, your subscription gives you access to an interactive space to share information with like-minded people with your privacy guaranteed. Your subscription will go a long way to help us maintain and improve our current media platforms. It will also help provide a budget so that we can begin the task of establishing localized media centers and radio stations across the United States. The best way to show your support and appreciation for what we do here at Black Talk Radio is to subscribe. Help us to help you be informed. Join btrcommunity.com today.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025. Hit ***. We'll see you in queue. Definitely, please, I hope you listen to the commercial that has been running. Very, very great commercial about supporting Black Talk Radio Network. So important. We're going to jump back into the show because we got to get to two things before we get out of here, and I'm not quite sure if Brother Davis is around. Brother Davis, if you wanted to jump in and tell about Wise Wednesday, greatly appreciate it. Just say, excuse me, jump in, brother, and then I'll just say, excuse me, I'm not on the board, so I won't be able to see it. All right, so I need to get back to this really quickly. Here we go. Picking back up from the article.
Hey, I'm sorry, Dave, but it says, I think he is on the board. So
yeah, go ahead.
I think he is.
Oh, he is? Okay. Let me check. Okay, Brother Davis, if you would, unmute yourself so we could talk about what tomorrow Wise Wednesday is going to be about, if we're going to have Wise Wednesday. And at any time, unmute yourself, my brother or Sister Davis, if you're there, and then we'll hear that. And you know what, Sister Davis, and I forgot to post the post that you sent in about the jobs that's going to be lost from Sam Club as well. We're going to have that on Financial Friday. I wanted to have that whole show. Sister Davis sent me a very, very important article that I wanted to do a show on, and we're going to do it on Financial Friday about Sam Club shutting down. This is so critical about what's happening here, and we need to know this stuff. So as soon as I think Brother Davis is available now. Brother Davis, you there?
Hello. Yes, I am, brother.
Yes, go ahead, Brother Davis. I hear you clearly. Go ahead, Brother Davis.
Sometimes people fail to realize, although we don't really converse about what we're going to do on the show, we are on the same page. And the reason why I say that is because literally, in order for there to be a movement, there has to be a self-identification. That's why everything that I do on Wise Wednesday always comes down to self. You see, if you don't do nothing, there can't be a movement. That's why self must take responsibility again. So why I say again, because we used to do that. That used to be a part of our culture. But it has changed because we have been so disenchanted by the illusion of Westernism, and there's a bunch of them. So I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of each. But tomorrow night's show, we're going to focus on the aspect of your being, okay? What you really have control over that you relinquish, and what you could do that you feel at this particular time you don't want the responsibility. But yet we're being victimized because we're not taking the responsibility. We don't have a choice, y'all. This is what Black Talk is about. They're telling you we don't have a choice. If you identify that and take your role, don't make the movement happen. Just take your role. The movement will happen. But you have to do you first. So tomorrow night we're going to talk about you first on a metaphysical level. And please, come with pens and pieces of paper, because I'm going to tell you something. The stuff I'm laying on you, you won't get anywhere. Anywhere. You know why? Because if you ever go to understand the authority of taking control of self and connecting yourself with the universal laws, which was your primary principle that you were put here for. You see, you're a spirit contained in a time continuum vessel. What is a time-space vessel? A time-space vessel means you're only here for a certain amount of time in this space. So your spirit will have what they call a physical experience, but it's really another classroom. So if you don't grow here, you are condemned to fail. And when you fail, you victimize your spirit to all of those things that literally you partake of. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow night, Brother Dave. I thank you for the opportunity to give me a chance to give a little shout-out about the show. Once again, you knocked it out the park, my brother. Let me get in the back room.
Brother Davis, Wise Wednesday tomorrow. That's what's so great to me. I love Wise Wednesdays because Brother Davis focuses on, and Brother Davis and Sister Davis and everyone here in Thando Radio Show and Black Talk Radio Network, we understand our overall our abilities, where we're strongly suited. And where I'm not strongly suited, I rely on Brother Davis. Where I'm not strongly suited, I rely on Scotty. I rely on Brother Braggs. I rely on Roz. I rely on many of you for that. And that's what makes us stronger. And what Brother Davis had just articulated to you all, and this is what we've been focusing on, and Brother Davis and I, years ago, we never met, but we realized that we had never not known each other spiritually, and this was what we needed to do, and this is where we started this overall process of trying to give you as much of a thought for you to engage in an action plan. And so Brother Davis I appreciate this because Brother Davis, it's truly a Wise Wednesday, and what Brother Davis brings and Sister Davis brings to this platform is priceless to me because it does always center around the greatness of you. Remember, Brother Davis always says, if you don't believe you can't achieve what you believe you will achieve, so powerful, the power of you. So looking forward to tomorrow's show, Wise Wednesday. As always, Brother Davis will be focusing on developing you, the great gifted you, because that's how you came into existence, from the harmony of a great gift that was given to you for sustainability. So Wise Wednesday tomorrow, can't miss it. Come with a pen and paper. Always, that's what you should be listening to over and over because, when people give a great energy to something and they have that talent for it, generally we don't pick up what they were saying for 2 and 3 years later. And some of the things that the Davis team brings, you won't really see the real We may not see it like growing up as being infants and growing into maturity. We won't really maturely see what was actually spoken to us, that seed of energy that was given to us sometimes into 5, 6, 7 years later, 3 years later. Same thing with my brother Braggs. These are the things that happen, but they still plant those seeds. They plant those seeds. So I truly appreciate Wise Wednesday tomorrow. Don't miss it. Okay, before we get out of here, let me just check to see if we have any callers in the queue. If we have any callers in the queue, I definitely want to give those individuals. I can't see the board right now. If we have any callers in queue, just say, excuse me. We'd love to hear from you all. And before we get out of here, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. If, let me see, oh, man, it's not showing up. Hopefully it will pop up. All right, so I don't know if we have any callers that are in queue. So let me get back.
You good, Dave?
Okay, thank you, Scotty, because I couldn't see it. Okay, so what we're going to do is I want to finish out reading this part of it and give a little closing statement to you all. Okay, so now, this is from the RT article from when Adrius Dumbert was from the Bundesbank Bank, which is one of the largest banks in the world, from Germany. This is what the individual said. It is not a major amount, talking about the $611 million worth of U.S. Dollar treasuries that they converted into yuan. So no, they didn't do that. They sold the U.S. reserve, the dollar. They sold the U.S. dollar for the Chinese renminbi. And guess who bought the U.S. dollar? You did. They said, we don't want this junk anymore. Here, take this junk. And you had to buy it. Here's what it was. It is not a major amount, but it is something that we decided on and that we wanted to be a part of. This is Bilderberg. This is Bilderbank. Bundesbank. This is Bundesbank. It is not a major amount, but it is something that we decided on and wanted to be a part of. What did they want to be a part of? Divesting themselves of the U.S. and investing themselves in the new economic beacon, being China. Dumbert told Bloomberg, the fact that the renminbi is now included in the SDR special drawing rights basket and the fact that the ECB had decided to do that are both factors we thought about. Remember, a year and a half, 2 years ago, a major event happened. The SDR from the International Monetary Fund had put in the Chinese yuan, the renminbi, as a part of the basket of currencies for the SDR. And what happened was they stole off other currencies to make room for the Chinese yuan. The U.S. wasn't the biggest slice of the pie, but it was the most significant, and it was the targeted slice that was taken. And then they gave the rest of the world 1 year to convert and to have the Chinese renminbi placed in there. And what did China say? If you do business with the U.S. and you have U.S. dollars, you will never be able to do business with China going forward. So what did they do? They were all divesting, and they've been doing this even before the IMF had brought China into the SDR, because they got the signals and the clues that was going to happen, because they had to unwind all of this stuff, and they had to start doing this early. Just like you preparing, you can't wait until the missile launch happens and you get an EAS saying that the missile is en route for you to start preparing. It's too damn late then. In order to prepare, you got to prepare when people aren't looking. Because once people start looking, they're going to be rushing towards resources and rushing towards the things that you need, and it's going to be a Black Friday event that you will not be able to withstand, that overall tidal wave. Just because it didn't collapse last night, you should actually thank the opportunity that you had to prepare for that collapse tomorrow. Because it is definitely going to happen. And when it happens and you're not prepared, it's going to hurt. And I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't want to, if that happens, then I don't care. Yeah, you say that now because your belly is fed. You say that now because you're not cold. You say that now because you have. But when you don't have, you won't be saying that anymore. Believe me. Because that's not a realistic view of the truth. We are so delusioned by that damn TV, and it's destroying us. And that's propaganda that comes off of that TV. It's destroying us. Continues. Raising concerns over incomplete status of the yuan as a freely floated currency, he said. The renminbi is used increasingly as part of central banks' foreign exchange reserves. For example, the ECB included the renminbi, the RMB, but also other European central banks did so. Did you hear what happened there? One more time. Raising concerns over the incomplete status of the yuan as a freely floating currency. He said the renminbi basically now is a completely freely floating currency. The renminbi is used increasingly as a part of central banks' foreign exchange, meaning all of the central banks are divesting themselves of the U.S. dollar. And are moving into what? The renminbi. They're buying the Chinese debt because they know China's about to back their overall currency with an asset. For example, the ECB included the renminbi, but also other European central banks did so. In 2016, the renminbi was added to the IMF reserve basket. And when they did that in 2016, they were already thoroughly prepared for everything. This is why they told you that your bank account is no longer yours. This is why they told you cash is not money. This is why they told you that you're going to be bailed in. In 2016, the renminbi was added to the IMF reserve currency basket. The reserve basket, becoming the first currency to be included to the list since the emergence of the euro in 1999. The yuan then joined the big four: the U.S. dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, and the British pound. That's the end of the article. Let me tell you something about these 1, 2, 3 paragraph articles. They say everything because they are sending a message to those that know to properly prepare. In the future, it's only going to go back to 4. It's not going to be 5 as they are now. Inside of the IMF, International Monetary Fund, but I call it the International, okay, you know what I mean. But before you kick one out, you have to first put in the other one to stabilize everything and make that transition as smooth as possible. In the future, here is what I see the 4 SDRs being, special drawing rights being. And these can only be used by sovereign countries. The 4 will be the euro, the Japanese yen, the British pound, and the renminbi. And the weight of it will be first the renminbi, the euro, the British pound, and the Japanese yen. There's all going to be all forms of displacement in re-strategizing and reshuffling. But the one that's going to be kicked out completely is going to be the U.S. dollar. And that is going to be a news blip that you will never read in the United States, because here in the United States, you'll be too busy trying to eat in trying to survive the day, while the rest of the world will read that the U.S. dollar has been dropped from the SDR. But you'll know it because you'll be living it. But you'll never read it because you will not have the overall energy to focus on that TV anymore. You'll be clamoring for what little resources, if any, are available. I would definitely say prepare now. And prepare as often and commit to it as much as you can. And I just want to say before we get out of here that I want to make sure I can't make sure that, wow, it dropped me out. Okay. I can't see. I don't know if we have any other callers, so we're going to go ahead and get out of here. And I just want to thank you all for listening to Thando Radio Show today. Actually, we will be back and we will come back to this and cover the other part of this that went along with this overall show today. So it's never goodbye. As always, we'll see you later. Brother Braggs, if you're there and if you can hear me, if you would chime us out of here. And I would definitely say, it's never goodbye. As always, we'll see you later. And before you ask for a fortune, make sure to give one away. Brother Braggs, if you would be so kind to chime us out, greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And we'll talk to you later on. Much love, much respect. Peace, peace.
Can you hear me, Dave?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, brother. Yes, sir.
Peace, peace.
Peace, peace.
Gold dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake.